there is increasing evidence that Instagram is bad for your mental health and you should delete it.
No, I don't agree. I think this is a rather extreme position because you old people just don't understand.
So we are going to be debating whether Instagram is good or bad for you, whether you should delete it, whether it should be banned in schools. I am Naveen Kabra. I will be arguing against Instagram as a typical parent.
And I am Ruhi Kabra, and I'm going to be arguing for it as a person that uses Instagram.
Okay, I will start. So Jonathan Haidt has written a book called The Anxious Generation, in which he has presented a lot of data showing that since 2012, mental health problems have significantly increased, and this aligns very much with the rise of social media. And this is not just a US thing, it is in many places, and it is many large studies showing this. And this is not just self-reported people complaining about their mental health. Okay, this is really measurable statistics like suicide attempts and admissions to hospitals for mental health reasons and so on, right? So, and these problems, if you focus just on young girls, the problems are even bigger than that.
So, why do you think this is happening?
Okay, so according to him, this is happening because one is more time spent on social media means less time spent with real friends in real life. There is disruption of sleep. There is social comparison. There is status comparison happening. And there is comparison happening because you are comparing yourself against everybody else, and then you look bad to yourself and you get depressed. And this is extra bad because on Instagram, what you see for other people is their highlights versus your own behind the scenes, right? And in the data, if you focus only on young girls, these effects are much more pronounced.
Why do you think this is happening?
According to him, this is that more time spent on social media means less time spent with friends in real life. There is also disruption of sleep. There is also all this comparison going on, right? You are looking at all these cool people on Instagram and then you look bad to yourself in comparison. But this is even worse because you are comparing other people's highlights with your own behind the scenes. This is not something that happens in real life, right? Also, compulsive use happens of Instagram and other social media because the companies are doing this intentionally. They are making their apps addictive. Plus, unnecessary exposure to toxic stuff on Instagram, right? This is something we covered in our episode on Stop Watching the News. And, to top it all off, Instagram's own internal documents show that they believe it is toxic for teenage girls, right? So,
okay, but there are a number of problems with this argument because Jonathan claims that 2012 is when the mental health issues started and that's when Instagram gained its popularity. But there are a lot of other things that have also changed in that time. Yeah. And those reasons could also be contributing to mental health problems. Like the media has become more toxic, like advertisements, everything is more commercialized.
Yeah, we talked about it and you should stop watching the news.
Yeah. Or families becoming smaller, single parenting, or parents just working more, so not having times for their kids. Okay. More polarization between our in our community.
That also we have talked about, right?
And maybe even it could be the reverse, where people with mental health issues use Instagram more.
Oh, so you're saying correlation is not causation. The way we have done an episode on that. Yeah.
And there are also studies that suggest that taking a break from Instagram, a detox, doesn't really help.
Yes, thank you. I think you're just quoting my own episodes at me. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think given this, it's very important to distinguish between good use and bad use of Instagram.
Okay, fine. So then tell me what are good uses of Instagram, okay?
So these are reasons I would like to say that I use Instagram for.
Okay.
One of them being just staying in touch with friends. You don't have to send a WhatsApp message to every single friend of yours saying, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened. You can just put on your story and everyone's just going to know. So And there are two layers to this. There is the main story and then there's a close friend story. So if there are things that you want to be more real about, more authentic about, then you can put it on this close friend story and only these certain 15 people will see it and they will know and they will reply. They can DM you there and then. That increases your reach, and it also increases the amount of people you interact with on a daily basis, and those conversations lead to meeting in real life and things like that.
Yeah, actually I have noticed that you're far more in touch with your friends even if they're in Delhi or Bombay or something like that. So you're right.
Yeah, especially when you go off to college.
Yeah. Okay, so is this just your experience or is there any data for this? Because on this channel we believe in data.
So, there's a study by Pew. I have the statistics right here. 74% of the people in the study think that social media makes them feel more connected and helps them make new friends. 63% of the people say that it makes them feel more creative. It allows them to be creative and have something called an art account. An art account is where you post your work, you make reels of your work, or if it's painting, if it's writing, if it's what you're reading, just your interests, if it's cooking.
So basically, as creator or things you are doing, you are just doing that.
Right? As a creator, or it does not even have to be that serious. It's just a way to make your resume now.
Okay, so this is what I think of as, I mean, you put your interests out there in the world and see who all get attracted by that, right?
You put it out there, you will have people that will DM you, you will have people that are going to reach out to you and be like, hey, this is cool, we should work together. And you will also be able to send it to people that you want to, like if you want to work in that specific art industry, right? Then you can send your Instagram account now.
Actually, this is very cool because I have a cousin who put out her art on Instagram and she ended up doing the mural of a top movie star's farmhouse just purely based on what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So you were saying like this can become your resume, your portfolio, right?
And then based on this, you make even more friends. You will find people that have similar interests as you. Will find other accounts that are doing similar things. And
so that's a way to immerse yourself in that community and surround yourself by people who are doing cool things, so then you are inspired by
You're inspired by it and then you learn by it. You find people you do and you see these people do these things and you're like, I want to do this, I want to be better, I want to, and you challenge yourself given the amount of stuff you see.
Okay, all right, so fair enough. In fact, this reminds me of another friend of mine who got an editing job purely based on Insta DMs that he sent to someone. He's saying, I really loved your work, and then sent his own work and so on. So yeah, okay, fair. I will give you that there are good users of Instagram, okay? But I do want to talk about two big problems with Instagram. So one is that it gives you body image issues, and second is that there are creeps on Instagram. Okay. So what do you say about that? I mean, that's bad.
The creeps is something that I've had to deal with personally, and a lot of women, a lot of people, like a lot of people have had to deal with this. There are quick and easy fixes.
Okay.
One is you make a private account. You privatize your account, you can control who follows you, who...
Finsta.
Yes.
Okay, so I found out that Finsta stands for fake Insta. It used to be like, this is your main account and this is like a fake account, but now it has evolved into the fake account being your real account where you are your authentic self, you are talking about your real things, but that is only for close friends and it is private.
Right,
correct?
So there is the main account, the Finsta, and then your art account. There are these three different kinds of accounts.
All right.
Art account you usually keep public and then you can figure out what you want to post.
But then creeps on the art account?
So that depends on what you post as well. If you're posting your art, then you're not giving personal information out, and creeps will text, you can ignore them. You can block them, and it's fine. But then on your main account, you can make that public or private. And then on top of the main account being public or private, you will have a Finsta. A Finsta is just for your close friends. So like a close friend story is just a full account for that.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing is that you have multiple accounts and all these multiple tricks, but basically use it in restricted mode for communication and socialization, and then you cautiously use it in public mode, but that is more for your art, your work, your portfolio, your learning, and so on.
Yes.
Okay, fine. What about the body image issues?
Now, with the body image issues, that is something that I feel like you have to deal with it. There are ways that Instagram has where you can like snooze posts, you can snooze suggested posts, and you can sort of curate your profile in such a way where you see only the things you want to see, which is you can pin your friends, so you see only their posts. You don't go into like the other things, or you can also be like, I am not interested in.
Okay, so basically you're saying manipulate the algorithm.
Yes.
And curate what it is going to show you by telling you, no, I am not interested in this stuff if it is going to show you things related to whatever body and dress and diet and so on.
Exactly how you mentioned in your curate your consumption video.
Thank you. So, okay, fine. But this private restricted use doesn't prevent you from seeing a whole bunch of things. So it doesn't solve the mental health issues, right?
You're on Twitter all the time. Isn't Twitter also a toxic place?
Okay, but okay, I see what you're saying. So you are saying that stay in the good part of Twitter. I mean, like I stay in the good part of Twitter, you should stay on the good part of Instagram.
Yeah, you should use Instagram the same way you would use your Twitter. You need that kind of self-control to stay in the good and not...
Okay, now one problem I have with that is that, you know, there are some people, especially those with like a little bit of mental health issues or issues with control, who will not have the discipline to do that, right? So maybe we have to distinguish between regular people who could make use of the good stuff on Instagram and stay away from the bad stuff, and others who have trouble with that, right?
As I said earlier, like people that have mental health issues could also be using Instagram more.
Correct,
So that is something that has to be treated. But doom scrolling otherwise is also very addictive and it's very hard to avoid it. But there are a lot of strategies that people do use nowadays.
Okay. So I guess, I mean, you know, you could use technology to deal with it. You could use apps to limit the amount of time you spend on Instagram. The app will lock you out after 1 hour or whatever.
Yeah, there are also these apps that you can give someone else the password to that app and you can't open it again.
Right. The other thing you can use these apps for very well is to prevent use of Instagram at night when you're supposed to be sleeping, because sleep disruption is one of the big ones, right?
Yeah. I think, I'm not sure, but I think Instagram also has this snooze suggested post thing where you can like snooze, like not have them show any suggested posts for 30 days.
So just get rid of the algorithmic feed entirely, only your friends will be there. Okay, that sounds like a very good idea to me, actually.
I feel like Instagram should really do more things like that where you can just block out reels.
Yeah. So let's see what we agree on, right? Okay. So, but in general, would you say that avoiding the bad parts requires maturity and judgment, and which might be difficult for little kids? So, you know, I would say that parents are justified in disallowing Insta before a certain age, like 14 or 16 or something like that.
I feel like giving it a hard age is a very tricky thing, because if your friends have it and you don't, then you're being left out of friend circles, which is going to affect your mental health.
Okay, so
you might also be bullied for it.
Okay. So I agree, and I do remember that, you know, when we disallowed Insta for you when you were a kid, it was hard, right? One thing, there is research which shows is that if you get together with the parents of the friends, right? All the parents get together and together they disallow it for everyone, then this is easier for everyone because, you know, then you don't run into these FOMO issues. And the other point you made was, sure, I mean, you know, don't make it an age thing, but make it a judgment thing. As in, so if the group of parents gets together and they disallow Instagram for that entire set of kids, it works much better, data shows, because that whole FOMO issue isn't there.
But how are you going to get all the parents to listen to you and do this?
So one thing that has been done in a number of places is for the school to ban it, okay? This has been done in a bunch of schools and the data is now in showing that it does have a significant improvement.
But isn't that a little intrusive on parenting styles? And because parenting is very subjective.
Okay, that's a whole different video. We can do that. But at least they can ban it in the school. That itself helps. Okay.
I have my own issues with that,
Yeah.
but we can table it for another video.
Second thing is that, if there is a group of parents, I mean, this is an experience we did have where the other parents, the ones who were allowing, said, oh, I would love to ban it, right? So, I mean, you just have to convince a significant fraction of them. So if then there are one or two parents who are still allowing it, then they are the outliers.
In an idealistic world, yes, I think this could work.
Yeah.
If everyone decided to ban it.
Right.
But I do believe that as people get older, I would like to say that they get more mature, they understand this more.
Yeah.
And then usage of Instagram should be more responsible for your own sake. Like, as I mentioned, there's communication, there's posting for your friends, there's learning, there's posting your hobbies and even using it as a portfolio.
Oh, yeah, I mean, in our Why Do WhatsApp Uncles Exist, we talked about how this is such an important part of being part of a community. Even old people need it, so the young people definitely need it, right? The only thing is that there is a danger of doom scrolling, which is addictive.
Yeah, and using technology can at least curb it to some degree.
All right. So overall, I think I would summarize it as a parent, I think I'm justified in having some restrictions in place for younger children. But then as they grow up, I have to learn to let go and at least just sort of teach them or let them know about responsible use. Hope they use it responsibly. Know that once in a while they will slip up, they'll make mistakes, but then, maybe that's the way they learn to be independent. Otherwise, they're just going to be on parents' crutches for the rest of your life. So that's how.
Ruhi, do you think he has grown up and learned to let go?
I think so. I think they were never strict parents to begin with.
Yeah. Okay, but I think this does bring up an important point, which is that there is always going to be this friction between children and parents. And as we talked about in our Embracing Change video, this friction is necessary, right? I mean, the young people have to rebel against the parents and the parents have to try to curb them in. And that tug of war is actually what leads to good outcomes. So,
and if you want to see more of this, I think you should like, subscribe, share, and also join the WhatsApp community. Link, QR,